We're live on TV, I think.
Good morning. I hear the birds singing, now my alarm singing. Get up, hey. Good morning, brand new day. Good morning, on my way. Good morning, just what I need. I feel the hope that's rising in me. Good living in this moment. Wrong place, upbeat, about a man. Gotta keep this party going. I went to bed dreaming, you woke me up singing. Get up, hey. Good morning, brand new day. Good morning, on my way. Good morning, give me strength, give me just what I need. I feel a hope that's rising in me. Good morning, now I'm smiling and I'm kissing all my worries goodbye. I got the feeling if I spread my wings, might even die. You are my strength, my way. Give me the strength to say, get up, get up, get up. Good morning, brand new day. This morning, I'm stepping on my way. Good morning, strength, give me just what I need. I can feel the hope that's rising in me. Good morning, brand new day. This morning, I'm stepping on my way. Good morning, strength, give me just what I need. And I can feel the hope that's rising in me. Good morning. Good morning. Spiritual alive in us, go alive in us right here. Spiritual alive in us, shining bright through us right here. Spiritual love in us, reaching out with every touch. Spiritual the voice in us, rising up
Good morning. My name is Allison Berry, one of your licensed spiritual practitioners. We at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living acknowledge we gather on the ancestral lands of Cahuilla, Gabrielino Tongva, Kizh, and Huiseño peoples. We commit to live in right relations, to love our neighbors, to seek justice and loving kindness, and to walk humbly on this land. We recognize our oneness so that we decolonize our minds and set each other free from the pain of racism and violence to live better as God intended, in harmony with nature and with one another. So again, good morning and welcome. Yay, you said it. And happy Mother's Day. It's a blessed day, and thank you for being here, for celebrating with us before you probably do some other things today, so yay. I am honored to serve as your guest host today while Reverend Jeffrey has the Sunday off. And I want to say hello to everyone joining us on our live stream today. And want to remind you, please type in where you're watching from. We love to see who all is out there watching us, and we welcome you. I do want to remind everyone in the sanctuary to please put your phones on silent so that our time together is uninterrupted. And before we do our congregational song, I wanted to have a special announcement. Tomorrow is our wonderful vocalist Jeff's birthday tomorrow. So let's sing happy birthday. Can we do that? Hey, Jeff. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jeff. Happy birthday to you. And now we're going to get everyone up and moving with our congregational song. So please stand if you're able, and let's sing it with zest.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Now feel the love in sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together.
We come together.
In the name of love. We come together. We come together.
We come together. We come together. Name of love.
Look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together.
We come together. We come together. We come together. Name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together.
Name of love. Every walk of life, every creed and color, and get you green light. Yes, in honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say namaste, I bow to you. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Just lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together.
Name of love.
I'm Constance Stringfellow, one of the licensed spiritual practitioners here at the Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. Practitioner Allison Berry and I will be available after service for a brief moment of prayer in the prayer room in the lobby. So please don't leave here this morning with anything on your heart. We love to pray, and we absolutely know that prayer works. So now please allow the music to take you into the silence, followed by this morning's invocation.
It is not I, but the Spirit within, who does these things I see before me. It is not I, but the Spirit within. Oh, glory to God. Oh, glory to God. It is not I, but the Spirit within, who does these things I see before me. It is not I, but the Spirit within. Oh, glory to God. Oh, glory to God. It is not I, but the Spirit within. Oh, glory to God. Oh, glory to God.
Please join me in consciousness, and I invite you to close your eyes if this is comfortable for you, and let's turn within. Breathe in, God, consciously allowing yourself to connect with God, the one power, our higher power, the creator and source of all life, the one mind in the universe. God, the essence of love and wisdom, inspiration and guidance. God is harmony, perfect peace, beauty. God is wholeness, divine right action, and so much more. I know that as I know this truth, I know it's true for everyone, everywhere. And today, I bless and celebrate mothers everywhere. Biological mothers, adopted mothers, all who play the motherly role, all who has shared divine love that never fails, the love that is unconditional, uplifting, and supportive, the mother's love that is strong, comforting, nurturing, and protects. Mothers are expressions of love, and that's why God created mothers. He needed a backup plan. May all the mothers in the world be blessed, knowing that you are loved and appreciated. Thank you for the sacrifices you made to give opportunities to your children. I'm sending you infinite love, peace, joy, and gratitude to all the mothers everywhere. I know that you are leaders who taught and led by example. I'm so grateful for your presence in life. And I bless you, all mothers everywhere, knowing that you are beautiful expressions of love. And I bless this service. I know it unfolds in perfect divine order. And I just let it be so. And so it is.
Once again, happy Mother's Day to everyone. Can we have a round of applause for all the mothers?
Love you, Mom.
Speaking of applause, can you do me a favor? We're going to need your help with this song. So can you all do me a favor and clap with me? There you go, right? Keep clapping. Now, can you do me a favor? Can you do a fast clap? Ready? 1, 2, 3, and. Yeah, you got it. I got the slow clap. Ready? And.
This is school.
All right, the rest, guys. Ready? Here we go. Well, 1, 2, 3, go. And watch you crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine's here, you can take a break. Hot air balloon, I can go to space. With the air like I don't care, baby, by the way. Come on, because I'm happy to belong in you, feel like a room without a roof.
you so much. Jeff, that was outstanding. And of course, to Belle and Max and Manny, that song makes me smile every time. And we get to tell Reverend Jeff we could do the fast clap. Who knew that we could do the fast clap? So that's awesome. Now. Yeah. So I love it. So now let's come together in consciousness for a moment and say our focus statement. Since it's Mother's Day, we're going to do it with all the M's. So let's do it marvelously and magnificently, merrily. I had a chance to do this on my own. Majestically, mystically, metaphysically. Okay, so magically. Okay, so we're in the spirit now. So let's say this together. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Beautiful. You said that great. So really our guest speaker isn't a guest. She is one of us. She's our own Reverend Dr. Victoria Bomberry, our Minister of Transformation here at Riverside CSL. And just as a mention, because she does so much wonderful work out in the community and in the greater CSL community, but she is, I'm reminding you, the Vice Chair of the Centers for Spiritual Living Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee. So, yay, we love that. That's just awesome. So, here you go. Let's welcome Reverend Victoria.
Okay, I still think I can bound up those stairs like I did 10 years ago, right? And now I'm saying, where's Frank Connolly? Well, it's so good to be here this morning. And I want to greet you. Chukayadega. Did you make it through the night? Yes, we're all here. Wonderful. My name is Reverend Victoria Bomberry. Most of you know me, but those of you who are watching us maybe for the first time, that's my name. I'm Reverend Victoria Bomberry, and I'm an enrolled member of the Muskogee Nation. And our custom is to go with our mothers. We're matrilineal. So my mother is Muskogee, but I'm also Choctaw and Chickasaw and Lenape. And I can tell you about my kids. My kids are Choctaw, Chickasaw, Muskogee, Lenape, Cayuga, and Salish, and Native Hawaiian. So we cover all of the indigenous world, just about. So, you know, I love thinking about who we are and how we got here, and just that whole energy of the divine feminine that makes it possible for us to be here. And we've wished Happy Mother's Day to everybody this morning. And, you know, I think it's also important to wish Happy Mother's Day to everyone who has mothered in any kind of capacity at all. And this morning I walked in and I saw Tomorrow, and she said, look, and she had all these little red marks on her chest. And, you know, I'm used to little chickens, you know, hiding in places, you know. And this morning she said that she had a bunch of tiny kittens, about four weeks old, and they were all just holding on to her right here, right? With their claws, their tiny, tiny claws, right? So we mother in so many ways, and, you know, sometimes we mother ourselves. Right? If we have taken that wisdom of the divine feminine to heart, we mother ourselves. This morning, just kind of a flood of memories came through, and I thought of a woman that I want to acknowledge this morning, and her name, she made her transition many years ago, but her name is Cleta Jo Edwards. And my mother died when I was really young, and my father remarried when I was a preteen. And he married a much younger woman who really was not interested in being a mother. And she was just not there, right? And one time, and she had a very different idea about what a young girl or becoming a young woman was supposed to be doing. And I was then, as well as now, a big nerd. So I was not in an environment where I could do what I wanted to do. So I had this neighbor, Cleta Jo, and I went running to Cleta Jo, and I said, I just was crying, and I was just like really upset. And Cleta Jo always wore hats, and you guys might notice that I wear hats. And that's Cleta Jo's gift, right? So I was so upset. I was crying and crying and crying. And I said, and what she heard was that I wanted to go steady. And remember, in those years, all the teenagers, that was the big deal, to go steady, right? That was what everyone wanted to do, is go steady. Whether you were girl or boy, you had to have your steady. Okay, so she started on this long discussion about what it means to go steady and why it's not a good idea, and on and on and on and on. It must have gone on for like half an hour. But I just sat there and listened, and I became very calm listening to her talk about going steady. And finally I said, she paused. She was finished with her discussion of going steady. And she paused, and she waited for me to say something. And I said, but Cleta Jo, I'm not interested in going steady. I just want to study. So we had a good laugh about that. But she continued to be that mother figure for me as I went through those 15, 16, 17, through high school. And, that's important. I'm so happy that we have people who show up in our lives to be our mothers, no matter where we might be in our life. And some of us with gray hair, sometimes someone shows up of our same age or younger, who will give us that mother love. So we just acknowledge all of this and celebrate it. When I was preparing for this talk, I watched the music video several times. And, it's about 4 minutes long, that music video. And I danced through it. And I think I almost made it to the end. And I know that Constance could, because she's always line dancing every week. She could make it to the end. But, I felt energized every time I heard that song. And I was really, I was winded. I was out of breath by the end of that song. And, where am I? I'm glad that Jeff taught us how to do that clap, because I was thinking about it as just kind of a reminder, right? Whenever we're feeling a little bit down, let's clap a little bit. Okay, let's try it again. Oh, doesn't that just lift us up and make us feel that rise in who we are, that rise of energy? Now, the title of today's talk is If You're Happy and You Know It. And probably most of us have heard that song, right? If you're happy and you know it. It's not as upbeat as Pharrell's song, but it does the trick too. It gets us back into that feeling of being a child and having, silly things to do. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. I don't remember all of it, but you could do anything you want, right? If you're happy and you know it. And, So the title is If You're Happy and You Know It. And if you think about it, this title has a big if in it. What's that about? Well, some people can't identify happiness. They can't identify happiness or other emotions. And there are charts with all kinds of expressions on these little round faces. And so that people identify their emotions. And the first time I saw those charts, I thought they were weird, But when I sat with them for a while, I realized that I also had a hard time identifying emotions. And there's things in our face that, if we're happy, we often smile, we have big smiles, or we laugh, or, there's those kinds of things and they are universal. They are universal to all of humanity. There's some that are more culturally specific, but there's many that are universal to us. We have these emotions that we share in common. There's disgust, right? There's sadness and all gradations of sadness, going down to despair. And, there's everything, anger, and, all the gradations of anger, just being a little bit pissed off to, to being in a full-blown rage, right? There's all of these emotions that we have, but oftentimes people can't identify them. Everyone's conditioned by family and society to behave in ways which can result in suppression of emotions. How many of you have heard, don't be sad, don't be angry, and maybe even calm down when you're just experiencing joy, right? This month we're exploring our emotions and how they help us live on this planet. Ram Dass calls our bodies spacesuits, which is a good metaphor. I tend to not like those mechanized kinds of metaphors because I believe that everything is holy and everything is sacred, even this flesh that we're in right now. But it's a good metaphor for to kind of explore our emotions. Our emotions are our controls central. So just as, we have all these controls in a spacesuit, they are our controls central as we experience the world. They are our guidance and protectors. And in the case of happiness, that good feeling we have when we are in the groove of life. What is happiness? I always love looking at words to see where they lead. And I had a little tea bag the other day that said, I was reading the dictionary and I thought it was a long poem about life. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to get back to my dictionary and start reading it. So I did. And for me, I don't really say happiness as often these days as I say contentment when I describe how I feel. I guess I picture myself as a cat sitting up with that little cat smile on my face, not quite purring, just content in the moment. Contentment is one of the definitions of happiness. Pleasure is another. What is pleasure? There are many meanings to this word. The one I like is a cause or source of enjoyment or delight. Another definition of pleasure is one's will, desire, or choice, as in to make known one's pleasure. That's very science of mind, isn't it? Very science of mind. And don't we do that when we say or write an affirmation? And of course, happiness is also the God quality of joy. It is the most elevated of all the meanings of happiness. It means keen pleasure, elation. And we can feel it when we say elation, joy, that keen pleasure. Our words truly have power. And I'm reminded of the Psalms, or the Chronicles. I think of Psalms often. Chronicles 16:32 through 34. Let the sea roar and all that fills it. Let the field exult, everything in it. Then shall the trees of the forest sing for joy before the Lord, for he comes to judge the earth. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever. Some of you who are brought up in a conservative Christian church, or maybe other religions too that have an emphasis on judgment, might balk at that word, judge, right? Or, you know, even when we think about how often we admonish people not to judge others, when what we really mean is don't condemn others, don't condemn them. When I read this passage, I think of a beautiful scene on the prairie where two native nations meet. There is tension between them, as there often is with neighbors who are pushing against boundaries. These distinct nations put on their finest to meet one another. They bring out the drums that are decorated with sacred symbols and color, and everyone has on their finest regalia. And they dance for one another with pure joy, remembering with each heartbeat of the drums and the movements of their bodies that the great mystery governs us all. For the verb to judge also means to govern. There is recognition of the divine order of the cosmos and everyone and everything in it. As this magical reunion comes to a close, the people go their separate ways, filled with the recognition that yes, their sometimes enemy is also their brother. So that's what I think when I think of this beautiful passage. It's about divine order. It's not about a punishing God. It's about God sitting in the midst of all of this and enjoying creation, seeing the dance, seeing the trees, seeing all this beauty and experiencing it through creation at this high elevated level. That's joy. That's happiness at its highest. Oh, this brings me happiness and joy. Thinking about the natural world, getting up and just feeling this life, right? Feeling this life. Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, writes in Help for Today, we should rediscover the youthful spirit of that childlike joy, which gave to us the energy, happiness, security, and faith we had as children. Wow. And, you know, we want to recover that in our everyday, that childlike wonder and joy, right? We want to discover that. Now let's think back to when the song Happy was released. It was released on November 21st, 2013. And think about the years leading up to its release. We were still in a major economic recession. 10 million people lost their homes because of predatory lending practices. There was a return of piracy on the high seas that was shocking and absurd to think about, piracy made a comeback in the 21st century. And I have to admit, I thought it was kind of cool to think about pirates on the ocean. I had the image of Captain Hook, right? I had a very Disney-like vision of pirates on the high seas. And there was also a global pandemic. The swine flu was raging globally. That's what a pandemic is, right? It's global. And the deadliest bushfires in Australian history occurred. And remember we lost the koala bears. We could just see, the habitat destroyed and those poor little animals scorched and left in the forest. And of course, people came to their rescue, and we're hopeful that they will make a comeback. But how on earth could humanity be happy against that backdrop? Fortunately, Despicable Me came along, and the youthful spirit of childlike joy in seeing those brown body yellow minions running around infected us. I never saw the movie. I never saw it, but I would see those minions all around, and every time I'd see them, I would just like, oh, they're so cute, I love them, and look at their big glasses, and or their goggles or whatever they're wearing, and they just made me so happy. And then the character Gru was like the unhappy, grumpy self that resides in each of us at some time or another, right? So many people were depressed and unhappy in those years. And Pharrell wrote Happy to remind us to stay positive. And it ended up being, a smash hit. But maybe you don't know, I didn't know this until a few years ago, that he was rejected 9 times for that song, right? 9 times, but he persevered. And if you listen to the lyrics, and we heard all those lyrics that are so great, there is the line, here comes bad news, taking this and that. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. Wow. Nothing can disturb our joy, really. It was just what we needed to hear to get us up and out of our collective doldrums, to clap along to the music. Now, I don't think this is anything like fake it till you make it. We respond because we have joy in our souls that responds to joy and happiness. It is pure science of mind. And, I don't know, but I think that Pharrell must abide by these teachings. Every time I see him, he is positive, he is uplifting, he is encouraging, and I love seeing him. And when he makes a mistake or stumbles, he owns it and says he's sorry and makes amends. Isn't that something? That's really something. And we know that our happiness really does not depend on anything from outside of ourselves. Pharrell let his joy and positivity overflow into the world, and we can do the same. What makes you happy? Remember that we have to have the mental equivalent in our minds to level up. What does your little round face look like when you align with that which makes you happy? And I think everybody got those little papers, right? Everybody have a pencil, something to write with? Okay. Let's take a minute to do this on the paper you have. And if you need a paper, let Allison know. So draw your face when you're happy. What do you look like when you're happy? And what is your definition of happiness? I gave you some definitions. You might have one of your own. This doesn't have to be a full self-portrait. I know some of you are really great artists, so.
Wait a minute, I have to start over.
So when you're finished, just take a minute and share your little happy face or whatever it is with your neighbor. Don't be shy. And what word did you write? What word did you write that went along with your happiness? What defines your happiness? Somebody want to give us an example? Ecstatic. Oh, that's some really high happiness. Ecstasy. What? Contented. Yeah, I like that one. I can't hear you, Bill.
No, you don't want to hear.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you afterwards. I'll see you after service tomorrow.
A warm, fuzzy feeling within my being.
Oh, so nice, right? Oh, I just love all of these answers. And someone else has one. Michelle.
Dancing with my dog.
Oh, dancing with your dog. Wow. Oh, I love that. I'm so grateful that you shared those with me. Oh, that just warms my heart. Well, gratefulness is the spice for happiness, right? That's a spice. It enhances everything, and it ensures more of the same. So we thrive on spiritual practice, right? And gratitude is one of the most important practices that we have. Just recently, someone who was going through a rough patch for several months told me that they realized that they had forgotten to be grateful for what they had. Oh my gosh, there was such an incredible shift. And I could see the cloud lifting from that life, from that one realization. Have you seen all those paintings of people raising their arms to the heavens in the morning? And that's another universal. That's something that people do as a spiritual practice. They'll greet the day. They'll raise their arms to the heaven. And that's one of my favorite practices. I've spent a lot of time working on joy, getting to joy. And Anita helped me with that a lot. So I started thinking about joy. I wrote joy down on a piece of paper. It became my affirmation, my one word affirmation, joy. And I think that I started to look around to see what made me happy. What makes me happy? And my list got longer and longer and longer and longer. And then one morning I woke up and I thought, you know what I've been missing is just going out and raising my arms to the heaven and giving great thanks for the day. So I came up with this little thing that we can do if you can raise your arms, and if you can't, just do it in your mind, because you know what? Our minds are so powerful that it doesn't matter whether we do it physically or not. We get the same benefit from it. So just visualize raising your arms to the heavens and saying, thank you, God, for this day and all the gifts you've given me. I bring those gifts to my heart and I send them out into the world and they return to me. And so it is. Let's turn it in. I'll give great thanks to recognize God in this very moment. God that is the source of all being. God who lights the sky with wonder and exhilaration, morning and night. I'm so grateful for this moisture today that freshens and enlivens all of life and me and each and every one of us. And I am grateful for this emotion called happiness. I'm grateful to be able to recognize it, to live it, and to feel that energy moving through my body. And I know just as it moves through my body, it moves through everyone, that we are elevating the consciousness of this entire world just by our happiness and our willingness to come together and share our happiness with one another. Our finest, our best regalia, our best moves, our life. And I'm so grateful for all of this. And I allow it to be. And so it is.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it and you really wanna show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it and you really wanna show it. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! If you're happy and you know it and you really wanna show it. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! If you're happy and you know it, snap your fingers. If you're happy and you know it, snap your fingers. If you're happy and you know it and you really wanna show it. If you're happy and you know it, snap your fingers. If you're happy and you know it, pat your head. If you're happy and you know it, pat your head. If you're happy and you know it and you really wanna show it. If you're happy and you know it, pat your head. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it and you really wanna show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
Thank you, Duval. That's fun. Right into this,
Oh,
all this
Jeffrey.
stuff. Love it. And thank you, Van and Jeff and everyone. Okay, so I'm going to invite our beloveds in service to come forward. Collecting this morning on behalf of the congregation are Cindy Lambert and Frank Conley. And receiving on behalf of the congregation is practitioner Constance Stringfellow. And as you know, your conscious contributions to this center allow us to continue all of our wonderful work. And the easiest way to do it is text to give. Just send a text to 951-419-5858. And you can also go on our website, riversidecsl.org. In the upper right-hand corner, there's the word contribute. Just click on that. And of course, the old-fashioned way that we love here is putting your contribution in the baskets as they go around. Yes, we're all for it, right, Frank? Yes. And so I invite you to place whatever you're giving today over your heart as we say our affirmation together. I give freely and generously with an open heart and an open mind. The universe responds to me in kind. I know that my beloved community is richly blessed. And so it is.
God is my soul, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my soul, God is my power, God gives me everything.
Thank you. Beautiful as always. So I just have a few announcements before we close out. I'm going to invite Michael to come up. We have a really exciting guest vocalist next Sunday, and he's going to tell us about it.
Good morning, everyone. So, quick story. A couple of months back, Abel and I visited a center in Bakersfield as we were spending the weekend with his aunt. And we saw this young man who was performing that Sunday. And he has a really interesting performance style. And we wanted to bring him here for you guys to see. We wanted to share what he had to offer. So we've arranged with Reverend Jeff's blessing to have him come out next Sunday to perform for you guys. So hopefully you will come out and support him. It's really interesting what he does. So if you can, come out. And if you need one of these little flyers, raise your hand and I'll get you one. If you haven't got one already.
Cool. Thank you. Awesome. And also next Sunday, we have a real treat after service at noon. So that's after our coffee and snacks. We are going to be dedicating a peace pole in loving memory of Reverend Lee McNeil Nash, who was our senior minister here for 10 years, from 2005 to 2015. And it's just at the bottom of the stairs, right by the parking lot down there. And I understand it's just gorgeous. So It'll be a lovely ceremony, and we invite you all to stay for that and attend that. And now I'm going to call up Greg. Are you ready to do that? Okay, Ray will do this. We, of course, are less than 2 weeks away from our amazing Spirit of Art auction, and Ray's going to give us a big plug.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So the 21st is the auction. If you haven't bought a ticket already, please do. There's going to be, there's over 100 pieces of art available for purchase for auction, silent auction, and there'll be a live auction. And we have sponsorships from Tiggy Winkles, Salon 3778, Music and Arts. I think a guitar is coming to raffle off. Gift baskets, Made, the shop down here in Riverside. So, and I think, did I miss anybody? RCAA, the gallery RCAA. So it'll be a lot of fun. So invite your friends and show up, and you know, it'll benefit the center. And if you haven't bought a ticket, do it. Thank you.
And just a note on buying a ticket, if you want to do it the old-fashioned way, of course, you can go to our website and click on buy tickets and do it that way. They're just $20 for fabulous food and a great evening of entertainment and so on and so forth. But you are welcome to write a check, and for $20 or $40 or however many guests you want. Just make sure to put art auction in the memo and put the names of the people that will be attending. You might want to buy a ticket for friends or family members, or you know, that spouse of yours that doesn't come, like my spouse, but he's coming. so anyway, and you can put it in the vessel back there, and we will get that into the system, the reservation system in the office, so that we're ready to receive you when you come on Saturday, the 21st. So we want to have just a rousing participation with not only our members, but just the greater community. It's going to be wonderful. And then last but not least, on the last Sunday in May the 29th, we are having our annual community picnic. It is taking place after service down in that little grassy area below the parking lot. And we just need you to sign up. So see Frank Conley after service if you haven't already done so. If you plan to come, he needs to know so that we can have enough food, and then you bring all the sides. So we bring all the sides and desserts, that yummy stuff. And so tell us what you're going to bring. So if you haven't done that, see Frank after service, and we're going to just celebrate being in community for 2 weeks in a row. That's awesome, aside from being present here. So there we go. Now we get to do our affirmation, right? Yes, and it's easy. So I want to invite you to stand, and we're going to do the affirmation together as well as the benediction. And so I'll just say this one really quick first. I live my joy. So let's say it together. I live my joy. And please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. Say it better than that. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. I receive it. And I move love forward. Because love lives here. Happy Sunday.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now. This thing called love. Love is in my life. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I said it. Receive it. And I'm moving forward. Because love is
Happy great Sunday, you guys. Thank you. Up, down, and you feel lonely. Can't find you. Everything you gather, together. We love each other. It's hard to see. Just make it stronger. We breathe it in together. We'll hold you up with grace. Love is here in you and me. Love is here. So free, so excited to be united with you. Down, you can see the future. We're all so excited to be united with you.
Love